What up, guys? Welcome to Downtown Melo, and you're listening to the Entertainment Report on iHeartRadio, live from Dubai for Tuesday, November 13th, 2018, delivering some major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Melo, that's RAYMELO, on Twitter at The Enter Report, or on Instagram at The Entertainment Report. You can listen to the show anytime you want on iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeart.com or your iHeart phone app, search for The Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to the page. Stan Lee, the legendary writer, editor, and publisher of Marvel Comics, whose fantabulous but flawed creations made him a real-life superhero to comic book lovers everywhere, has died. He was 95. Lee, who began in the business in 1939 and created and co-created Black Panther, Spider-Man, the X-Men, the Mighty Thor, Iron Man, the Fantastic Four, the Incredible Hulk, Daredevil, and Ant-Man, among countless other characters, died early Monday morning at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, a family representative told The Hollywood Reporter. Kirk Shinnick, an attorney for Lee's daughter, J.C. Lee, also confirmed his death. Lee's final few years were tumultuous. After Joan, his wife of 69 years, died in July 2017, he sued executives at POW Entertainment, a company founded in 2001 to develop film, TV, and video game properties for $1 billion, alleging fraud. Then abruptly dropped the suit weeks later. He also sued as ex-business manager and filed a restraining order against a man who had been handling his affairs. Lee's estate is estimated to be worth as much as $70 million. And in June 2018, it was revealed that the Los Angeles Police Department had been investigating reports of elder abuse against him. On his own and through his work with frequent artist-writer collaborators Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, and others, Lee catapulted Marvel from a tiny venture into the world's #1 publisher of comic books and later a multimedia giant. In 2009, the Walt Disney Company bought Marvel Entertainment for $4 billion, and most of the top-grossing superhero films of all time, led by Avengers Infinity War's $2.05 billion worldwide take earlier this year, have featured Marvel characters. He told the Chicago Tribune in April 2014, "I used to think what I did was not very important. People are building bridges and engaging in medical research, and here I was doing stories about fictional people who do extraordinary, crazy things and wear costumes. But I suppose I have to come to the realization that entertainment is not easily dismissed." Lee's fame and influence as the face and figurehead of Marvel, even in his non-Generian years, remain considerable. Disney chairman and CEO Bob Iger said in a statement, "Stan Lee was as extraordinary as the character he created. A superhero in his own right to Marvel fans around the world, Stan had the power to inspire, to entertain, and to connect. The scale of his imagination was only exceeded by the size of his heart." Marvel Studio President Kevin Feige also paid tribute. Feige says, "No one has had more of an impact on my career and everything we do at Marvel Studios than Stan Lee. Stan leaves an extraordinary legacy that will outlive us all. Our thoughts are with his daughter, his family, and the millions of fans who have been forever touched by Stan's genius, charisma, and heart." Beginning in the 1960s, the irrepressible and feisty Lee punched up his Marvel superheroes with personality, not just with power. Until then, comic book headliners like those of DC Comics were squared and well-adjusted, but his heroes had human foibles and hang-ups. Peter Parker's Spider-Man, for example, fretted about his dandruff and was confused about dating. The evildoers were a mess of psychological complexity. Gene Simmons of Kiss said in a 1979 interview, "His stories taught me that even superheroes like Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk have ego deficiencies and girl problems and do not live in their macho fantasies 24 hours a day. Through the honesty of guys like Spider-Man, I've learned about the shades of gray in human nature." The Manhattan-born Lee wrote, art directed, and edited most of Marvel's series and newspaper strips. He also penned a monthly comic column, Stan's Soapbox, signing up with his signature phrase, Excelsior. His way of doing things at Marvel was to brainstorm a story with an artist and write a synopsis. After the artist drew the story panels, Lee filled in the words balloons and captions. The process became known as the Marvel Method. Lee collaborated with artist-writer Kirby on the Fantastic Four, Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, Silver Surfer, and X-Men. With artist-writer Ditko, he created Spider-Man and the Surgeon Doctor Strange, and with artist Bill Everett, came up with the blind superhero Daredevil. Such collaborations sometimes led to credit disputes. Lee and Dicto reportedly engaged in bitter fights and both received writing credits on the Spider-Man movies and TV shows. He told Playboy magazine in April 2014, "I don't want anyone to think I treated Kirby or Dicto unfairly. I think we had a wonderful relationship. Their talent was incredible. But the things they wanted weren't in my power to give them." Like any Marvel employee, Lee had no rights to the characters he helped create and received no royalties. In the 1970s, Lee importantly helped push the boundaries on censorship in comics, delving into serious and topical subject matter in a medium that had become mindless, kid-friendly entertainment. In 1954, the publication of psychologist Frederick Wilhelm's book, Seduction of the Innocents, had spurred calls for the government to regulate violence, sex, drug use, questions of public authority figures, etc., in the comics as a way to curtail juvenile delinquency. Wary publishers headed that off by forming the Comics Code Authority, a self-censoring body that, while avoiding the heavy hands of Washington, still wound up neutering adult interest in comics and stereotyping the medium as only one kids would enjoy. Lee scripted battle scenarios with characters like Nellie the Nurse and Tessie the Typist, but in 1971 he inserted an anti-drug story into The Amazing Spider-Man, in which Peter Parker's best friend Harry Osborn popped pills. Those issues, which did not carry the CCA's seal of approval on the cover, became extremely popular, and later the organization relaxed some of its guidelines. Born Stanley Martin Lieber on December 28, 1922, he grew up poor in Washington Heights, where his father, a Romanian immigrant, was a dress cutter. A love of adventure books and Errol Flynn movies, Lee graduated from DeWitt Clinton High School, joined the WPA Federal Theater Project, where he appeared in a few stage shows and wrote obituaries. In 1939, Lee got a job as a golfer for $8 a week at Marvel's predecessor, Timely Comics. 2 years later, for Kirby and Joe Simon's Captain America #3, he wrote a two-page story titled The Traitor's Revenge that was used as a text filler to qualify the company for the inexpensive magazine mailing rate. He used the pen name Stan Lee. He was named interim editor at 19 by publisher Martin Goldman when the previous editor quit. In 1942, he enlisted in the Army and served in the Signals Corps, where he wrote manuals and training films for the group that included Oscar winner Frank Capra, Pulitzer winner William Saroyan, and Theodore Geisel, a.k.a. Dr. Seuss. After the war, he returned to the publisher and served as the editor for decades. Following DC Comics' lead with the Justice League, Lee and Kirby, in November 1961, launched their own superhero team, the Fantastic Four, for the newly renamed Marvel Comics, and Hulk, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Daredevil, and X-Men soon followed. The Avengers launched as its own title in September 1963. Perhaps not surprisingly, Manhattan's high literary cultural vultures did not bestow its approval on how Lee was making a living. He once said to the Washington Post, "People would avoid me like I had the plague. Today it's so different." Not everyone felt the same way, though. Lee recalled once being visited in his New York office by Federico Fellini, the famous director who wanted to talk about nothing but Spider-Man. In 1972, Lee was named publisher and relinquished the Marvel editorial reins to spend all his time promoting the company. He moved to Los Angeles in 1980 to set up an animation studio and to build relationships in Hollywood. Lee purchased a home overlooking the Sunset Strip that was once owned by Jack Benny's announcer Don Wilson. Long before his Marvel characters made it to movies, they appeared on television. An animated Spider-Man show with a memorable theme song composed by Oscar winner Paul Francis Webster of the Shades of Your Smile fame and Bob Harris ran from NBC from 1969 to 1970. Bill Bixby played Dr. David Banner, who turns into a green monster played by Lou Ferrigno when he gets agitated, from 1977 to 1982's CBS drama The Incredible Hulk. And Pamela Anderson provided the voice of Stripperella, a risque animated Spike TV series that Lee wrote for in 2003 to 2004. Lee launched the internet-based Stan Lee Media in 1988, and the superhero creation, production, and marketing studio went public a year later. However, when investigators uncovered illegal stock manipulation by its partners, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in 2001. Lee was never charged. In 2002, Lee published the autobiography Excelsior: The Amazing Life of Stan Lee. Survivors include his daughter and younger brother, Larry Lieber, a writer and artist for Marvel. Another daughter, Jan, died in infancy. His wife, Joan, was a hat model whom he married in 1947. A family statement reads, J.C. Lee and all of Stan Lee's friends and colleagues want to thank all his fans and well-wishers for their kind words and condolences. Stan was an icon in his field. His fans loved him and his desire to interact with them. He loved fans and treated them with the same respect and they gave him. He worked tirelessly his whole life, creating great characters for the world to enjoy. He wanted to inspire our imagination and for us to all use it to make the world a better place. His legacy will live on forever. The never bashful Lee appeared in cameos in the Marvel movies, showing avoiding falling concrete, watering his lawn, delivering the mail, crashing a wedding, playing a security guard, etc. In Spider-Man 3, 2007, he chats with Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker as they stop on a Times Square street to read news that the web-slinger will soon receive the key to the city. He says, I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said. Actors, directors, comic book artists, and more took to social media Monday to pay tribute to Stan Lee. Rival comics company DC Comics addressed Lee's passing on the company's Twitter account by writing, "He changed the way we look at heroes, and modern comics will always bear his indelible mark. His infectious enthusiasm reminds us why we all fell in love with these stories in the first place. Excelsior, Stan." Sony Pictures Entertainment Motion Pictures Group Chairman Tom Rothman said of Lee's passing, "Original and genius are two very overused words in the world today, but Stan was both, an irrepressible and irreplaceable, and you begin to describe the man. We have all lost a true superhero. You will be greatly missed, our friendly neighborhood Stan Lee." Walt Disney Studios Chairman Alan Howard said, "It's impossible to overstate Stan's influence on popular culture. I was able to get to know Stan over these past several years through his work with Marvel Studios and was always impressed by his irrepressible energy and vitality. We lost a true creator. My thoughts are with his family and friends during this difficult time." Shane Duffy, the CEO of Stan Lee's POW Entertainment, says, "We at Stan Lee's POW Entertainment are saddened by the loss of our friend and mentor Stan Lee, the father of pop culture. His passing today marks a devastating and painful moment in time, but the legacy of Stan Lee through his creative genius and his universes of characters will continue to reach the world of true believers for generations to come. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and the fans of not only his work, but of him as a friend who made the world a better place. He was a true icon pioneer with no comparable seconds. It has been an honor to work beside him." Publicist Don Miller, who worked with Stan Lee for many years, says, "Stan Lee was a tremendous character that will never be forgotten. He brought joy to so many. The world has lost a true legend. I feel honored to have worked with him for so many years. May he rest in peace." Ryan Reynolds, who has played Marvel character Deadpool in 2 films, wrote on Twitter, "Damn R.I.P. Stan, thanks for everything." Scarlett Johansson, who has played Black Widow in the Avengers franchise, said of Lee's death, "The galaxy just gained another dog star. Thankful every day to be a small part of Stan's universe. He was a legendary visionary and a true artist." Edgar Wright, who produced the film based on Lee's character Ant-Man, also posted a tribute on Twitter. He said, "Thanks for inspiring many of us to pick up a pen or pencil and put your dreams onto paper. Excelsior." Man of Action Entertainment's Steven T. Seagal reflected on his personal relationship with Lee. He says, "I met Stan Lee in 1981 when he and Jack Kirby came to the Colorado Springs Mile High Comics to sign the hardcover Silver Surfer, which I still have. I was 16 years old and starstruck. 32 years later, I wound up working with Stan regularly as he voiced himself on the Marvel cartoons that my Man of Action company produced and wrote." Seagal continued, "One day Stan came in a little glum. I asked him what was wrong. He held out his record script to me and joked that we never gave him lines. He had to get up, dress up, and drive across the valley and come in, and it would be nice if his character, Stan the school janitor on Ultimate Spider-Man, had more lines once in a while. I promised that we would hook him up. So immediately outlined an episode for Stan where we revealed that Stan the school janitor was secretly a retired SHIELD's agent." Seagal continued by saying, "Stan occasionally got tongue-twisted on the regular dialogue lines, but he had no trouble with the tumultuous turns of forensic phraseology that Joe inserted. My condolences to his many admirers, friends, and family." Marvel Entertainment wrote, today we're pause and reflect with great sadness on the passing of Stan Lee. Hugh Jackman wrote, we've lost a creative genius. Stan Lee was a pioneering force in the superhero universe. I'm proud to have been a small part of his legacy and to have helped bring one of his characters to life. Hashtag Stan Lee, hashtag Wolverine. Mark Ruffalo wrote, sad, sad day. Rest in power, Uncle Stan. You have made the world a better place through the power of modern mythology and your love of this messy business of being human. Chris Pratt tweeted, thanks for everything, Stan Lee. What a life so well lived. I consider myself extraordinarily lucky to have gotten to meet you and have to play in the world you created. Samuel L. Jackson wrote, thank you at the real Stan Lee for the escape from this world and great joy in inhabiting the ones you created. You made so many believe in the good, the heroic, the villainous, the exciting. Most of all, you were giving and gracious to us all. R.I.P. Zoe Zeldana wrote, today we lost one of the greats at the real Stan Lee. You're an inspiration and superhero to us all. Thank you for contributing so much and giving us all something to inspire to. Hashtag R.I.P. Stan Lee. Actress Karen Gillian tweeted, R.I.P. Stan, thanks for your brilliance. Anthony Mackie wrote, you are a man before your time. Now it feels like you're gone before your time. R.I.P. Stan the man. Thanks for the laughs and words of support. It's an honor to live in your universe. Hashtag Marvel Night. Chris Evans wrote, there will never be another Stan Lee. For decades he provided both young and old with adventure, escape, comfort, confidence, inspiration, strength, friendship, and joy. He exuded love and kindness and will leave an indelible mark on so many lives. Excelsior. Ryan Reynolds wrote, damn, R.I.P. Stan, thanks for everything. Lupita Nyong'o wrote, sad to learn about the passing of Stan Lee. From watching Marvel films with friends in college to have the privilege to take on one of his characters at Black Panther, Stan's creative genius sparked my imagination and left me in awe. His legacy will carry on. Hashtag Stan Lee forever. Paul Bentley wrote, now that was a life well lived and lived to the fullest. Excelsior. Thank you, Stan Lee, from all your fans. Jeremy Renner wrote, R.I.P. Stan Lee, you're a legend, my friend. Jessica Alba wrote, taking a moment to thank the great at the real Stan Lee for his kindness and allowing me to play one of his favorite characters. The experience I had on hashtag the Fantastic Four playing Sue Storm was an incredible experience. Elizabeth Banks wrote, hashtag Stan Lee, created one of the first characters I've ever played on film, and more characters that I can count who have inspired me and my kids. Winston Duke wrote, thank you at the real Stan Lee. You gave us characters that continue to stand the test of time and evolve with our consciousness. You taught us that there are no limits to our future as long as we have access to our imagination. Rest in power. Lolita Wright wrote, rest in peace, Stan Lee. Evangeline Lilly wrote, I believe with all my heart that hashtag Stan Lee would want to be celebrated today. Even though through your tears, let's flood the internet with all the artwork, good, great, and or awful, that has ever been created in Stan's name. Hashtag break the internet for Stan. Hashtag art for Stan at Marvel Studios at Marvel. Halle Berry wrote, thank you for sharing your incredible vision with us. We're eternally grateful to you and would not be the same without it. I'm so honored to have played a part in your world and will forever look back on the opportunity with love. Hashtag X-Men, hashtag Storm. Mark Hamill wrote, his contribution to pop culture was revolutionary and cannot be overstated. He was everything you hope he would be and more. I love this man and will never stop missing him. They say you should never meet a childhood idol. They are wrong. Hashtag RIP Stan the Man. Jimmy Kimmel wrote, at age 7, I drew this weird picture of Stan Lee and asked my mom to send it to him. Thankfully, she didn't, because 30 years later, I got to give it to the great one in person. Thank you for all the fun, Stan. Dwayne Johnson wrote, what a man, what a life. When I first broke into Hollywood, he welcomed me with open arms and some very sage advice I will forever take to heart. A true icon who impacted generations around the world. Rest in love, my friend, hashtag imagination, hashtag Stan Lee. Channing Tatum wrote, RIP Stan, thank you for all your joy and light. You created worlds and universe for us all to play in. Hope you're laughing wherever you are. Josh Whedon, the director, wrote, Stan Lee created a universe where if a character was beloved enough, they could never really die. Now that's thinking ahead. Thank you for so much for my life, and you'll never beat on it. Joe Perry wrote, with Stan Lee at the Hollywood Bowl in 2012, rest in peace, Stan. Kat Dennings wrote, Stan Lee, a gentleman and a genius. It was an honor to be a small part of his universe. Rest in peace. Felicia Day wrote, fans keep linking pictures of me and Stan, and I can't stop crying. He was so kind to everyone, especially young artists. He made it seem like your dreams were possible, even if you were a misfit. Especially if you were a misfit. Hashtag RIP Stan, you will be forever missed. Ava DuVernay wrote, I'll miss our kisses. Thanks for always being so encouraging. The ultimate gentleman. Until again, kind sir. Neil Gaiman wrote, I was first interviewed for Stan Lee's obituary about 20 years ago. I was happy he defied the Reaper and carried on. With Stan gone, an era really does come to an end. He was the happy huckster that comics needed, and he really did alliterate like that when you talk to him. Kevin Smith wrote, farewell, my friend. You're not only responsible for the boy I was, but also the man I am today. I will miss you all my days, Kevin. Josh Groban wrote, R.I.P. Stan Lee, maybe you have Twitter in heaven. Thank you for making my childhood, teen years, and adulthood so fun, especially during darker days. George Takei wrote, he inspired millions with his myriad, marvelous characters from Spider-Man to Black Panther, Thor to X-Men. His stories will live on and continue to ignite the imaginations of generations to come. Rest with the stars, great sir. Rosario Dawson wrote, everyone with love and gratitude for the late, great hero Stan Lee. Rest in paradise. Thank you for your imagination, creativity, tenacity, inspiration, and love. Seth Green wrote, heartbroken at the real Stan Lee represented the best of us. How grateful I am for his existence and influence. He lived to see his creations shape the world, and his legacy will inspire generations to come. But I'll miss him. Larry King wrote, I wanted to share my final interview I did with Stan. He will be sorely missed, and I cherish all the time I got to spend with him. Ashton Kutcher wrote, I had the great fortune to spend time with Stan Lee. He invented a comic book character for me called the Replicator, who could create multiples of himself. He had a twin with the same power, good versus evil. Stan, you were one of a kind and good. R.I.P. Tom Holland wrote on Instagram, how many millions of us are indebted to this guy? None more so than me. The father of Marvel has made so many people so incredibly happy. What a life and what a thing to achieve. Rest in peace, Stan. Chris Hemsworth wrote, R.I.P. my friend, thank you for the incredible adventures your story took all of us on. My love and support goes out to all your friends and family. Jennifer Garden wrote, you have made heroes out of women. I'm so grateful to have been one of them. Thank you. Hashtag Stan Lee, R.I.P. Robert Downey Jr. wrote, I owe it all to you. Rest in peace, Stan. Hashtag MCU, hashtag Excelsior, hashtag Legend, hashtag RIP, hashtag Stan Lee. And Chris Hemsworth wrote, RIP, my friend. Thank you for the incredible adventures your story took us all on. My love and support goes out to all of your friends and family. And Guns N' Roses wrote, RIP, Stan Lee. And now let's take a look at what happened on this date in entertainment history. On this date in 1955, the actress, comedian, talk show host Whoopi Goldberg was born in New York City. Goldberg earned an Oscar nomination for her Hollywood feature debut in Steven Spielberg's The Color Purple in 1985 and went on to become the first ever solo female host of the Academy Awards. Born Karen Johnson, Goldberg dropped out of high school, battled drug addiction, married at the age of 18, and had a daughter. In the mid-1970s, she moved to California and became involved in theater and stand-up comedy. She eventually developed a one-woman show of character monologues called The Spook Show and began touring the country. Renamed Whoopi Goldberg and directed by Mike Nichols, the show played to sold-out audiences on Broadway from 1984 to 1985. The director, Steven Spielberg, then cast Goldberg as Celie in The Color Purple, his big screen adaptation of the Alice Walker's Pulitzer Prize-winning 1982 novel about an African-American woman growing up in the South during the early to mid-1900s. The film received 11 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture and Best Actress nod for Goldberg. She went on to star in films such as Jumpin' Jack Flash, 1986, and Clara's Heart, 1988. She also continued to perform stand-up comedy, including a series of comic relief television benefits with her friends and fellow comics Billy Crystal and Robin Williams to raise money for organizations that help the homeless. Goldberg won her first Oscar in the Best Supporting Actress category for her role as the psychic Oda Mae Brown in 1990's blockbuster Ghost, co-starring Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. Goldberg was just the second African American to collect the Best Supporting Actress award. The first, Hattie McDaniel, won for her performance in 1939's Gone with the Wind. In 1992, Goldberg scored another box office hit with Sister Act, in which she played a nightclub singer hiding out in a convent from the mob. In the 1990s, Goldberg also appeared in such films as Robert Altman's movie business parody, The Player, 1982, Made in America, 1993, with her one-time paramour, Ted Danson, Karina, 1994, with Ray Liotta, Boys on the Side, 1995, with Drew Barrymore and Mary Louise Parker, and Ghost of Mississippi, 1996, about the trial of the assassination of civil rights leader Medgar Evers. The Dreadlock Entertainment dynamo had a recurring role on Star Trek The Next Generation from 1988 to 1993 and hosted her own talk show from 1992 to 1993. In 1994, Goldberg became the first ever solo female host of the Academy Awards, a job she repeated to largely positive reviews in 1996, 1999, and 2000. In September 2007, she signed on as a moderator of the daytime chat fest The View, taking over the frequently controversial Rosie O'Donnell, who had left the show. In addition to her TV and film work, Goldberg has continued to act and pursue on Broadway. And that is your entertainment report for Tuesday, November 13th, 2018. I'm your host, Mr. Downtown Ray Melo. I'll be back tomorrow to deliver some major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Melo. That's RAYMELO. On Twitter at The Enter Report, or on Instagram at The Entertainment Report. You can listen to this episode or any previous episodes of The Entertainment Report anytime you want on iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeart.com or your iHeart phone app, search for The Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to the page. Good night, and God bless you all.